Game development takes time. It can take hundreds of people years to release just a single game. But I don't want to do all that. So today, I'm going to be making the same exact game in 1 minute, 1 hour, and 1 day to see just how much the quality of a game can improve with more time. So before even starting the games, let me tell you a bit of what the games are going to be like. So basically what I had in mind was kind of like a fruit catcher game, but with slime. So basically there are slimes falling from the sky, and if they touch the ground, you lose. But if you touch them, they get sent back to the top and you get a point. So anyways, now that I know what I'm gonna do, let's begin with the atrocity that is the 1 minute game. Since this literally took 1 minute to make, I will be showing you guys the entire process. So I started a brand new Godot project and then I started the timer. I started by adding a rigid body 2D for built-in physics, a sprite 2D for the texture, an area 2D to detect the mouse, and finally a collision shape to actually detect the mouse collision. I then imported a slime texture and added it to the sprite 2D, made it a little bit smaller, and then added the collision shape to match the slime. Then it was time to code. Now I am gonna admit I did have my code pre-made, so I was just typing what I already knew worked, but come on, it would be impossible if I did it any other way. So the first line sets the gravity to be a little bit slower, and this one detects when your mouse touches the slime, and if it does, it teleports the slime to a y of -200 and a random x range from -200 to 500. I then mess up the final line of code a little bit, but I fix it fast. And then boom, the game is done. I made it in 1 minute and 19 seconds, which you could argue is not 1 minute, but this was my best ever run, and I have been doing this for like an hour, so please spare me. So now it's time to test the game, and would you look at that, it has amazing visuals, exhilarating gameplay, and absolutely flawless collisions. Holy crap, this game sucks so much. But for 1 minute, it's not actually terrible. Now with that abomination done, let's move over to the 1 hour one. So for the 1 hour game, I started out by doing the exact same thing as the 1 minute one, to use it as a base and then expand on it. So now the game works, right? But it looks like absolute dog water. So with the snap of my fingers, the game now looks a little bit better. And yes, I spent 5 minutes just doing that. Then, for some reason, I spent another 10 minutes creating a main menu, which honestly looks terrible, but it's practical and it works. So now the game is missing something key. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, you literally don't lose at all. So time to fix that. And after typing on my keyboard a little bit, it now works. But there's still something missing, and that is that you literally don't know how many points you have. So I created a label and made it so whenever the mouse touches the slime, it pastes the value of the variable points onto the label. So now it works flawlessly. Then I made one of the stupidest decisions. I decided to try to add a bomb enemy, and when you touch it, it kills your mouse, so you lose. Now, on paper, it sounds great, but it was a pain in the cheeks to add. So the first time I tried to add it, it just didn't work. And when it did work, this happened. Like why? Why would you do that? And then if the bomb and the slime touched each other, the game would just completely break, and the slime would either break or not spawn anymore. So let's just ignore that for now and add some sound effects. I use this website called JSFXR. It's actually a really good website, and after a couple of minutes, the sounds were now implemented into the game. And here's the final result with the sounds and everything. It's not horrible, but forget it. Yes, it is. This game is horrible. I hate it. But I mean, for 1 hour, it's still not horrible. But now it's time to actually make a good game. It's time for the 1 day game. Now, to save up on time, I started the 1 day with what I already had done for the 1 hour, and obviously removed 1 hour from the timer to make it fair. The first thing I did for the 1 day game was add a particle effect when the slime is falling. So now when the slime falls, it looks way better. However, that is still a problem. The texture I used for the slime is just from Google, and I just stole it. So I decided to just make my own, and it turned out okay, honestly. Then, to make the slime look even better, I gave him an animation, which to be fair isn't great, but it looks way better than before. Also, since we are on the topic of animations, I gave the slime a much better death animation. Kind of brutal, but I like it. Next, I decided to give the game a much better look, since the old one looked kinda bland. So here it is. The floor is now grass, and the background is a cool looking forest. I also revamped the main menu to look a lot better, and I did this. And then removed the bomb enemy, since I'm gonna revamp it later. And I officially changed the name of the game to Catch 'em Slimes. Now, the game currently has a problem. If you play for too long, the slime becomes so fast to the point that it just becomes impossible to even react. So I decided to add some special slimes that when you touch them, they give you a special buff. For example, this red one resets your speed, the rainbow one gives you insane points, and the others have secret effects that I don't really want to spoil. Now, honestly, with these slimes, the game is much more fun, but it's still missing something. The game looks like dog water. So, let's add some post-processing. Alright, let's see how the game looks. Oh, wait, I messed up. Okay, so now that I fixed that, it looks 10 times better. But currently, when you die, it just takes you to the main menu, which is boring and horrible, and I don't like it. So, let's make a death screen. So now it works, and it looks great. And as a cherry on top, it even gives you a grade based on your score, which I think is pretty cool. Finally, I added some music, which I won't play right now for copyright reasons. A credits menu, and finally, the most important part. Game modes, 6 in total. There's a game mode where slimes have a 100% chance of spawning, one where there's no special slimes, and a super difficult mastery mode. These modes will hopefully add a lot of extra depth to the game. Now, I still had about 10 hours remaining after this. However, that doesn't account for the time I was playtesting the game, brainstorming ideas, fixing some export and corruption issues, and honestly, this game is way too simple and I just didn't know what to add. Besides, I had already spent about a week working on it, and that timer was just the time I actually spent actively developing. So I think it's pretty fair to call it here. So technically, it's not even a one-day game, it's kind of like a 14 hours spread throughout a week game, if that means something. So yeah, I didn't even really need the 24 hours, but if this video ends up blowing up, which I don't know, I may actually update it. But for now, I really just wanted to update this video. So I hope you guys can forgive me for that. Anyways guys, that was a 1 minute versus 1 hour versus 1 day game. I hope you enjoyed this video. So I guess that proves that spending more time on a game actually matters. And no, that is not common sense, that is just my big brain theory. The 1 day game is going to be available on itch, I think, by the time this video is up. So if you want to play it, it's going to be there for free. And fun fact, these were actually my first ever games made by myself without tutorials. So hopefully that explains a lot. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Keep developing. Bye bye.